YouTube, what is popping? Alright, so had to cut my motor out, or had to cut my firewall, my floor out, so that I can move my motor up. I have moved my motor up, and this is where I'm at. My floor all cut out. I got to cut this out back here. I just didn't want to get too crazy, and I knew I needed to cut out that far, but I'm going to have to go up in a little bit, not for sure how much. So, is what I've done is I put the motor and training in to kind of see if I could achieve what I wanted to achieve without having to cut all this firewall out. As you can see, it's still in there. The framing is gone from behind it, but I've cut the firewall out. There it is on my, that's what I cut out of it. So anyway, I do have the motor up, and I've got it kind of in, just kind of sloppily in there. Got me 1 degree rear angle in it, just a little bit of angle, not much. Not for sure what I'm going to end up with quite yet, because this is just kind of eyeing it up. And as what it was I wanted to see if the way it sits, if I had pan clearance, and I do. I have plenty of pan clearance now, so I'm good to go on that. No problemo. But to align this stuff properly, you need to be able to angle your crank center line, which is the center of your crank, basically the center where your crank goes, all the way through. That all's got to go all the way through the car and point directly at the center of that pinion bolt right there. Okay? The center of that bolt is what I want my crank line center line to be pointing straight at. Okay? And it can kind of vary. You can raise that motor up. The more that you raise the motor up with that pointing back there, the more angle you're going to get. You're going to get more down. You're going to get more downward slope to the back of the car with the motor the higher you go. You see, because you still got to point that at that pinion, right, at ride height. So you can adjust your pinion up and down to give you your pinion angle. That's no big deal. But you want a straight line going from the front of the block all the way through to your pinion angle, your pinion bolt, okay, in the center of that, okay? You want straight line. Everything perfectly in line. So you're like, how in the hell are you going to do that with the transmission in your way? Because you can't eye it with a transmission in your way. You don't want to fucking iron nothing anyway, because the iron don't work. So how you going to do that? Well, best way that I found was to call a man who knows. So I did. Called a man who knows. Called Dennis. And this is what he told me to do. Let me show you what I got. I'm showing you. We had to make this. But as what I've got here, let me stand back a little bit. Okay. Is I've got these 2 black things were hockey pucks. And my man's got a lathe. I won't bend that. He's got a lathe. And we turned these hockey pucks down to, hang on, let me get the other part. So we turned them hockey pucks down so that they would fit nice and snug in these main caps, okay? And as what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt this bar into my main caps. And then I've got a straight center line going all the way through my car. Take transmission out, get it out of the way, put the block in, and I'll be able to position my block in the car where it needs to be without the transmission in my way. And the end of that pipe is going to come about this far from my pinion. I could probably get it closer, but it's going to tell me exactly where my crank center line is relative to my pinion angle. So it takes all the guesswork out of it. There ain't no guessing. It tells you right where the hell it's at. You know what I mean? I started with a little bit more crank center line off the track than I thought I was supposed to, but at the end of the day, you hear, this car is not a 4-link car, and it is not a 2 straight frame rail strut car. Okay, so the car doesn't just sit flat to the ground. It's gonna have rake in it. It's you can't find any information about this shit online. It's so hard because it's outdated technology now. Everybody's 4Link or fucking Caltrax or some stupid shit. Okay, not stupid shit. It's good shit. But I'm a broke dude. I don't have a whole lot of money, so I get ladder bars. Okay, that's what my money buys is ladder bar cars. So is what I need is a good straight. The reason I'm doing this is because before I had so much downward angle in the engine that it was causing like 8 degrees of transmission angle, slip yoke angle. Okay, my slip yoke was at like 8 degrees relative to the drive shaft, and my pinion angle was 2 degrees relative to the drive shaft. So the back was right, but the front was way the fuck off. So it ain't right. It needs to be straight. It needs to be a good straight thing. And then, like, if you put 2 degrees of pinion angle in the back, you should roughly have about 2 degrees of slip yoke angle. Okay, so like it's in parallel, I guess you would call it, right? So in other words, when the car does a launch and it goes under load, it should zero itself out, and it should kind of like the drive shaft should straighten up with everything. The rear end should be completely straight with the center line of the car, everything nice and straight. So this will tell me if it works. I also found out that they had the fucking sorry, I've been dropping them F-bombs a little too much, but the motor was slammed to the left side so much that that tab right there on the transmission, if you can see it, was touching the frame rail. That wasn't going to work. The reason that wasn't going to work is because I'm about to drop a dime on a nice little reed. I don't know. I'm wanting to go with a reed case, and I don't want their super big, stupid 4,000 horsepower transmission. I'm never going to be able to have the money to produce that. So roughly, I would say that I'd be able to get around 1,000 to 11 horsepower with money that I make, okay? And that's by building the best little small block I could and throwing as many bottles of nitrous to it as I can. So that's kind of where I'm at. And if the nitrous comes, I'm not putting nitrous on the car originally. Not going to start out with nitrous. But if I decide that I want my butthole to pucker, then I'm going to throw a bottle of nitrous on it. You know what I mean? After I've got the car set and it's driving good and it's not a complete handful. So I want the transmission to be able to hold it and not come apart and break all the time like this one did. This son of a bitch we have more problems with every damn weekend we go. Something wrong. Truth be told, I believe second gear blew out of this and it blew up our fucking motor because there was no rev chip in it, so it just tacked out, blew the motor up, and that was the end of our racing career. So and now that I've moved it up, the transmission is legit in the car with me. Okay, my seat is like right here. I'm dead ass. My legs are right on this, as you can see here. Brake pedal's right here. Brake pedal and gas pedal. Clutch. This is the clutch pack part of the training. Okay, this is where all your clutches. And I know that this is an automatic transmission. People probably like, they don't know, or probably like clutches. There are clutches in here. Okay, and it's a whole pack of them. And when this fucking thing lets go, those clutch discs will come flying out. They'll cut your leg off. So the transmission I'm going to buy is it's pricey. But it's worth the money in gold because I don't believe that the power I'm producing nor the weight of this car will break it. And if something was to happen, it would stay together and not hurt me that way. So that's my next buy. I'm going to buy a fucking badass Ultra Bell transmission, torque converter, and drive shaft. I'm gonna put a nice 3-inch drive shaft. I've only got this drive shaft I got wherever it's at. Oh, it's under the car. I was messing around with it. Ooh, I just hit my fucking head right on that. My drive shaft is somewhere, but anyway, my drive shaft's only 2.5 inches, and it's got like 1310 U joints in it. I mean, them's the smallest U joints that are made. I didn't bust my eye open. That's good, because I just whacked that shit right there. Whew, if I wasn't on this thing, I'd have been cussing. But I'm going to put 1350 U-joints in that drive shaft and upgrade to a 3-inch drive shaft. upgrade to a strange pinion, because I got to upgrade my pinion, because the pinion ain't big enough. So I got to upgrade that, put a new pinion in the back of it. Pinion and yeah, so new transmission, converter, and drive shaft. So, I'm not gonna order the torque converter yet. I'm just gonna get the transmission and drive shaft, because I don't know what the car is gonna weigh totally yet, and like I want everything that's going into that torque converter to be correct. I want the weight of the car to be correct. I want the measurements of the motor, like everything that I put in the motor, everything that they need to know for a torque converter, I want to already be done in my car, so that I'm giving them the correct information. I'm not guessing. So I think I'm gonna pull this here training out of the way, and I'm gonna move this mount here. Well, not mount. I'm gonna move this 2x6 up here, up a little closer up here. Or actually, I'm gonna move this back, put the 2x6 up here because it's wider. It won't fit in here, so that I can brace this motor up and be able to move it, maneuver it. And then I'm gonna run this bastard here through my main caps, so that you guys can exactly see what I'm talking about if you don't understand what I'm talking about. And we'll try and figure out where my motor is gonna have to be. Like, I don't know if what I've got here is right, but I'm hoping it is, because like I say, it's up. Right now, I've got, I believe I had 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got 13 inches of clearance from the bottom of that block. So if I put an 8-inch pan on it, or a 7-quart pan, that's like an 8 1/4, I think, or 8 1/8, 8 inches and an eighth, whatever the hell you say. But so that I'll have room. I've took my springs out of the front end and dropped the suspension all the way down. So like this car went up and it come down hard, man, and just swapped this front end, right? That pan does not touch. I still got, like, I want to say 2 inches or some shit, 2.5, 3 inches of clearance with the suspension fully dropped. Nothing's gonna bottom out. That's problem has gonna be no more. Okay, so no more goofy. And I mean, the fucking pitch of this motor was so bad. Okay, the pitch was so bad in the motor, the degree back, that the distributor, that's why there was a recess in this firewall, because the damn distributor wouldn't fit in there. It had to, and it was just not right. So this is closer to right. I'd like to get this to 0. I don't want to have any degree. If I can get this to 0, that'd be great. But I think to get it to 0, the motor would have to be lower in this car, like completely lower. And I don't want that. I want to get it up so that I got clearance. So let's get to pulling some stuff out, and we'll see what it looks like. Alrighty, alright, so we got something done here. Didn't take too long. Worked out right. I was a little high in the rear. I was low. Sorry, I had to raise it up. So I did achieve what I wanted to achieve. I got 0. I ain't got 0. I probably got a half a degree. Negative, I want to call it, because it's dropping to the back. I want to call it positive, it's going towards the front. So negative, 0 degree negative. That's where my bubble's at. It's not perfect level, but my damn degree wheel's pretty well on 0, as you can see. And then there'd be the pipe, bros. As you see how it's pointing straight at that. Climb my little ass in here. Climb my little butt in here. And as you can see, well, I'm still tinkering with it. I'm probably an 1/8 inch to the right still. Just tinkering right now. But I'm pointed straight at her, if you can tell. See how that's kind of straight in the middle of that bolt there? So that's how this works, man. Let me get back out. So that's how that works. Never would have known that unless I'd have called and talked to somebody who actually knew what the fuck they were doing. But That's how that works. Everything goes straight from the front of the engine all the way through the transmission, all the way to the tail of the transmission is one solidly perfect straight line. How do I know the pipe's straight? Because it does not wobble when I roll it on the ground. It is. That fucking thing is perfectly straight. I got lucky enough to have a perfectly straight pipe in my fucking garage long enough for that. Don't know. Worked out though, first thing. So check out what it looks like under here so you can kind of see exactly what I've done. Here we go. Alright, so hockey puck squeezed into the one main journal and then the one in the back. I just took them couple out just to get them out of the damn way. And my pipe was about, I don't know, that short from going to the back enough where I felt comfortable. So I just went ahead and went off of one cap back, and that's where I ended up. So it's straight. As you can see, it runs all the way back. Let's see if I can do that. Anyway, right straight back to that bad boy. Man, that is fucking cool, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Let me turn my camera right. Probably giving you guys motion sickness. But man, is that cool, man. I mean, that is cool as shit. I'm not gonna lie. This made my life so much easier. And I mean so much easier. So, I did some screwing around with my rear end. I don't know what I was thinking, but I moved my ladder bars up a hole. Made a mistake. So I'm going to move my ladder bars back down a hole, get that ladder bar level to the ground, and adjust my pinion angle again to where it's kind of zeroed out. Like I want it to be at the same angle as the engine. So if I've got a half a degree negative on the motor, I want to get a half a degree negative on the rear end. You want them to be parallel with each other. That is my next move. And then I can, once I get that rear end perfectly lined, where not perfectly, but once I get it to where it needs to be, as far as in the right hole, pinion angle, a half a degree up to, or well, I don't know yet. I'm not for sure yet. I'll figure that out, but I think it's a half a degree up. So I'm a half a degree back on the motor, so I would want my pinion angle to be a half a degree back as well. Like everything needs to be in sync. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to get this motor. Once I get the rear end set, going to get that motor exactly where it needs to be, and I've got mid plates on the way for this. I got a new mid plate for the middle and a mid plate for the front, which I am not going to install the front because he's going to be doing new here. And like I was saying, we're going to eliminate how fast this comes up. It comes up real fast right here, gets in the fucking way of everything, and then just rides out straight. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this angle and move this angle forward to about right here, and then the angle will drop back from here. It'll give me all kinds of clearance for my cylinder head, headers, plug wires, the whole nine. Because as of right now, my 1 and 2 plugs are basically sitting on the damn frame rail, and that ain't good. Like my front plug angles out forward, and then this plug angles out back, and it was like the opposite. If I needed it the opposite, and it would have probably worked out a little better. But anyway, regardless, all this shit is going to get cut out, basically the frame rails. And as I went there today, I went out to his shop today and I looked at his front end. I'm gonna replace all this shit. That's all getting redone. I'm gonna do all of it, man. This shit just looks so clean. It's hard to, I want mine to look good. I want it to look nice. When somebody looks at my fucking car, I want it to be like, I want them to, damn, you know, I don't want fucking, ooh, I don't want shit face whenever people are looking at my fucking car. That, I'll be beating people up left and right. Anyway, not really. I'll probably get my ass beat, but I can't stand that shit. I'm not a perfectionist, but when I go do somebody's roof, man, they don't call me back. I'll see a customer one time, unless it's 30 years later, And we've done a few of those. I've done a few roofs. I've done a couple roofs, been doing that shit for 20 years. And like I say, I've seen a couple of customers twice, man. Did a part of their house, come back, do another one. I'm a perfectionist. I believe that whenever you do something you're getting paid for, it should be 100%. So maybe I should have had paid. I don't know. All I'm saying is I want the shit right, and it's about to be. So like I say, I'm gonna get my mid-engine plate installed so that that will hold my engine in the middle, and then I'm also gonna install the transmission cross member. That way that it will hold the training in place for him to mount the motor to that training, and it'll hold that motor out here so that he can mount the front motor plate. So, and I believe I'm going to do that a little differently. We went with tabs on the frame, which, boy, I didn't really care for. I'm not going to lie. Did not care for that. Just a couple of tabs on the frame rails, but there was no other way to really do it because of how low it sat. The new motor plate I got is going to be a little bit higher, so I can come like out here and bring it up, and I'm going to do a bar from the from there to the frame rail. Let me come around here, probably better to see. But in other words, a bar is going to come from here down to here, and then the motor plate will mount to a plate on that. Yeah, okay. Plus, this is a big ass span. It's a big span with no support. I just kind of want another bar coming up there. So, get rid of the tabs. Another thing that we got to do that I've been noticing is these come with nuts on them, and I think all of them do. But a feller that I know has a set of A-arms like this, but they don't have the nuts on them. And what I think they did was they took the nuts off, cut the damn threads off, and they welded a washer to the bolt, to the bolt, so that nut wasn't there, so that I can move these A-arms back, because I want to get these A-arms back. And need in mind, this is Ford. You can tell that's Ford. I still got to move the motor back. This is all just bullshit for the video, you know what I mean? I will get it perfected, because I'm a perfectionist. God, I just fucking hate shit not being right. I mean, I don't care if it costs, like I say, man, I don't care if this front end costs me like 5 to 10 grand to finish. If it's perfect when it's done, I'll pay it. I'll drop down on my knees and get my eagle on. I don't give a damn. But I just want my car finished. So, went out there today. The guy that's doing the work to the car is who did we took his lathe. He's got a little old lathe too, man. This fucking lathe's probably 100 years old, man, but it works like a champ. But he turned down those hockey pucks and put them 1-inch holes in there and made those things so that we could do this. And while I was in there, I was looking at everything he had going on, and he had just put a cage in a Camaro, got a cage in it, and had to do floorboards, drop floorboards, get the seats down, blah, 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 blah. Turned into a pain in the ass for him, which was good because it gives me time to save some money. I'm not, like I said a million times, I'm a roofer, I'm not a rich man. Not broke neither. Work for what I got, but at the same time, I ain't got money just falling out my pocket. So he's got a Vega that's coming in and getting a cage put in it, and a few other little things. He says he'll probably have that about a month. So it's looking like I'm probably about 5 to 6 weeks out. So that's awesome, man. That's fucking awesome. So in 5 or 6 weeks, I need to get my motor figured, get that thing mounted, get the mid plate in it, cross member in it. And while I'm waiting, I might as well, I'll do the drive shaft enclosure tube, which I think I talked about maybe in the last video. If I didn't, I'll put a 12-inch drive shaft enclosure tube on it, because like I say, the knuckle, this is my seat, my elbow gonna be like right here and real close. That knuckle's right there. So if anything was to break on that and it come flying up through here, boy, it'd be hurting. So I'm going to put a drive shaft enclosure tube. 12 inches is the minimum length that you can use. I'm not even 100% sure that I actually have to have one, but it can't hurt. So I'm trying to, I don't want an IHRA cert.
I want an NHRA cert. Okay, there's two totally different things. NHRA cert, IHRA accepts that. IHRA cert, NHRA does not accept. So I got to have an NHRA cert. And then I also want the car to be able to pass an NHRA tech, because I want to be able to race anywhere I want to fucking go. I don't want to drive 4, 5, 6 hours to a racetrack and then them telling my car doesn't pass tech. The hell with that. So fine tooth comb this thing. As much money as I got into it, I want to enjoy it. So I'm on my way there. But anyway, I think my next video will be mid-plate, cross member, motor, messing around with that or something. And then, man, I'm excited. God, I can't wait to get this car done. I just, like I tell all my buddies, man, I want to come out to the car and do something that doesn't involve a grinder or dirt. I am I'm filthy, man. I'm always filthy out here. And my garage is filthy, and that's part of it. You're always going to get dirty messing with cars, but I'm ready to move on past this point. I've learned enough about this part of race cars that I've learned enough that I don't want to do it again. You dig what I'm saying? No more bullshit. But anyway, like I always say, man, love your neighbor. Been some crazy shit going on. I do believe that this whole Trump and Biden thing has straight up divided America. Black and white is dividing America. It's bad, man. We weren't this bad off 10 years ago, man. We was loving each other, man. Christ's sakes, it was so much better 10 years ago. And I'm not talking like before Trump. I'm talking before fucking Obama, all right? Back when we thought America was shit or whatever, we didn't realize how goddamn good we had it. And it's like our country is literally crumbling underneath of our feet. If you're a true-blooded American, man, it is getting horrible. So hold on to your seatbelts for that one. Yeah. Then just remember, appreciate your job. Appreciate it. Don't bitch about the money that you're making anymore. Why? Because there's like 500,000 fucking illegal immigrants that just crossed into this country, right, that are willing to do your job for about nothing. All right, just an opportunity. Keep that in mind. So yeah. So anyway, roofers especially, guys. Fucking roofers, man. I'm noticing it in my community right now. We had a huge hailstorm, and there are Mexican crews from out of town everywhere. There must be 20 fucking out of town Mexican crews, man. It's just nuts. Nobody hires Americans to do roofing anymore. Either that or Americans are some lazy fucks. I don't know. If you're a roofer and you're an American and you ain't roofing, get your fucking ass off the couch and go roof, man. Go do something. Put the liquor bottle down. God damn it, whatever it is, it's causing, I can't find help. So whatever's causing that needs to stop, man. So love your neighbor, give him a hug, and I'll leave that one for the next video. But peace and chicken grease, everybody.